just doesn't have enough removal. That's why I'm running even a main deck Sun. And then and the Snapcaster helps that. Anytime you see a path, it's great. We can probably flash it back. Even the Sunlands is flashbackable. Of course. And then I think we need one more land. I think we need one more. We were running 22 land for this for a while. Having Mana Dorks leaves you open to combo. That's true, Precariat. That's true, Caesar. Catch loves someone like Geist in 4-color Zoo. That's what I like about this deck right now. It's super open. Right, it's not solved. Exactly. Yeah, I think 22 land is where I want to be, so we need one more land, and I don't know what to get. What do I want? Second Ghost Quarter seems greedy. Oh, you know what? That's what's missing. My first Ghost Quarter. There it is. This could be a tech edge, because by the time you search it out, it might as well be a tech edge. People have talked to that with me before. Although this lets us hedge, like sometimes you just draw it, and if you're up against Tron, it's just the nuts. So this could very well be a tech edge instead. I kind of like having just one piece of, you know, land destruction that Knight can get. You know, they're man lands to hit, etc. You know, I'm not running, the only piece of permission I'm running that really cares about the mana that they're getting off path. There's a reason there's no mana leaks in this for the reason, you know. When you're running 4 paths, you don't want something like mana leak. Yes, the logic knot is probably adorbs, for lack of a better word there. This honestly is probably the first thing to go. I haven't been in love with it. There have been some games where it's important to have just a hard counterspell main, but it is kind of a pet card of mine. You know, you could run the second Kasali Pride Mage main. Maybe you just cut this entirely. It does have some anti-synergy with Tarmogoyf for Knight, sometimes Jace, sometimes Snapcaster, so we could just cut it. It's really spicy when it comes out, but you don't necessarily need it. Also, after adding more basic forests and plains to add to the consistency of the Retreat to Korlheim combo when you have low amounts of life. Also, loses percentages in cards like Big Jace and Retreat. We're really a single color deck, with the exception being some of these double white cards in the sideboard. We're really a single green, a single white, and a single blue deck. Because you have so many things like Ghost Quarter, so many basics, clunky lands like the one of Stomping, the one of Sajiri, the one of Kessig. I think that the logic knot, although it's been sweet some games, is really greedy. So in Nightfall version 3.1, we're going to cut it and see if that helps the mana. See if it assists in some of the issues I've been having. Worship is a spicy sideboard. Worship is best if you have something like Caryatid. Somebody actually suggested I run Worship in the Ascendancy deck, and I considered it. Check this out. So one way that we could switch up the Ascendancy deck I run is, since you're a Caryatid deck, you could run some number of Worship in the sideboard. I've been meaning to test that. I know I haven't talked about it much on stream with you guys. That was something I might have liked. I do offline communication with you guys, like Twitch messages. If you message me, I will message you back. It might take a couple days, but I will get to you. So you could run Worship in, like, if I'm going to run Worship, it's going to go in a sideboard of a Caryatid deck, likely. This is my Caryatid list currently. If we could find room for another Wish card to cut, you could put in, you know, I'm hedging away from hating on Abrupt Decay because there's just less Jund being played in general. It's an expensive deck, A, so new players aren't flocking to Jund unless they have money to burn. And there's a lot of Tron being played, so there's a lot of reasons why I've slimmed down on the Faith Shields. I wouldn't cut them entirely, because you will occasionally come up against an Abrupt Decay deck. But this would be a deck where you'd maybe want to run a Worship. Worship over Leyline could be good. Yeah, am I playing more soon? Absolutely, music. We're just talking a little theory. So let's jam... I don't think I have any Worships, though. But it's a consideration for this deck that we haven't talked about before. On stream anyway, I don't think. Chance to turn down the music? Sure. Is that better? I actually, I heard the other day that it was too quiet, the music, so is that perfect? How about here? How about, like, 10%? How about that? I also can speak up. It's better in my list because you have voices, says Procariat. Yeah, I mean, you don't need it in this deck. Like, Leyline's functionality, let me show you how this deck works first. Let's jump in the practice room with it, warm up with it. It is the kind of deck that I prefer to warm up with before just jamming Modern League with it, although that is the point tonight, jam some more Modern League. Just get a feel for where the metagame's shifting, kind of give you guys some information about where you want to go with your decks. Obviously, unfortunately, you can't play your Twin or Bloom Titan anymore, likely. You could play a Kiki-based deck, you could play a non-Bloom Titan deck, but, you know, you're losing percentage points. Alright, keep. It's too bad we can't get hands like this when I play in the tournament, or in tournaments or whatever. But I can get it here in the practice room every time, just like, whoop, hey, oopsie. This hand, the only thing that makes this hand better is a carry tid, but it's got a Stitcher, so we can go for it. Now, Stitcher, of course, if he has removal for the Stitcher, that we're, you know. We also have the Lumbering Falls, so if we try to go off with Stitcher and he answers to Stitcher, I can just go off with Falls if we make a land drop or hit a Phyrexian mana spell. Show me Thoughtseize, show me Inquisition. You got it. He's going to take Ascendancy, no doubt, no doubt. Take this. Just take it, dude. It's the right card. Take it. I think your mic is a little low. Says Madagascar. It's actually 100%. My mic is on 100. The mic is literally on 100%. This mic is literally cranked to 100. I guess I could flip this guy. I think this might change something about the mic. Okay, so obviously took that, and we're going to play a land he already knows about. We know we need a red source, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab our red source. No shocks, even though he's probably not very aggressive. Then we'll vision. Alright, Glittering Wish, top, bottom. You could take the Whisper, though. It's not a bad card to have. Actually, in retrospect, I think I could have. Alright, so Flagstone. So this is going to be running some form of way to abuse the Flagstone. You don't just run Flagstone for no reason. It's probably like a Death and Taxes kind of feel. Or Bitter Blossom. That's pretty slow against us, though. Thankfully. So here's the thing. Against a hand hate deck like this, running even main deck Duress, it's not great to Glitter Wish and grab Ascendancy and then they can take it away. But I don't really have a better line. I don't really have a faster way to get there. So unfortunately, you know, if he has the second Thoughtseize or Inquisition or anything really, you know, I don't really have much to play around it. Otherwise, he just takes the Wish, and then I'm also out of luck. So you kind of just... This is why Leyline's so good in our sideboard, this kind of matchup. Not just burn. It's really more so for hand hate. Hand hate, of course, is some of the best interaction, unfortunately, you can have for against us. Looks like he's going to be running a Pox. Yeah, it could be Pox. Although he didn't get a second black source. Lingering Souls, that's very good for us if he's not going after the Ascendancy. That's huge. Actually, we can go off this turn because I drew Wind Zendikon. So go Windswept. We're going to animate Steam Vents. It could be Lumbering Falls that you animate, but since that'll animate itself later on during the combo, I much prefer, so let's just make sure we have the right color. So we need either a blue or, we need a red source if we want to animate the Steam Vents, so let's get the other red source. Red, blue, white. Jeskai. Oh, you know what, maybe I miscalculated. Hang on a second. Shoot, no, we're one turn short. We're one turn short. It doesn't matter hugely. It is a little relevant because, shoot, I thought we had enough mana. No, if I win Zendikon, then it's tapped. It won't be animated until after the Jeskai trigger. Let's skip. That sucks. Fortunately, though, since we have two creatures, even if he hits the interaction here, I wanted to do it while he's tapped out. That was why I was just moving so quickly. I was like, let's go for it. Let's play around that Path to Exile that he surely has. Alright, Flashback Souls. Oh, Intangible? Okay. This is an obvious Path to Exile, unfortunately, for the home team. This is also half my life pool. Or nearly half, obviously. The Fairy Rogue that just came out has Summoning Sickness. Okay, to play around Path best, we actually want to animate Stitcher first. Or you can go for the Lumbering Falls. If we really want to go Lumbering Falls line, though, my play was actually supposed to be play second Falls, next turn play the fetch land, and go from there. This is a Thoughtseize. Oh, nice. He's tapping out. Excellent. So actually I can go with the greedier line, which is Wind Zendikon. We have no worry of course we hit the Surgical after we flash that back. Alright, we got this. So we can go blue. We can Wind Zendikon the Steam Vents and kind of go from there. This is going to let me discard the Fate Stitcher. So we're looking very, very good. There's obviously things that can still go wrong when you're playing this style of deck, but they certainly are much, much fewer now that we have 2 tappers and a third one on the way, I actually can animate this lumbering falls very shortly. And I'll show you how to do that right here. So we're going to surgical and get some information about my opponent's deck. So check this out. So we're going to go float, untap, surgical for Phyrexian, the duress. That's going to net mana. We're still one mana short of animating the lumbering falls in response to the surgical, but that's okay. We'll do it before long. You could also surgical yourself. I kind of want the information since we're playing something atypical. Pitch Carrytid, it's pretty obvious. Let's get some information. What are you up to? Prison? Main deck prison? Dude, Twin doesn't exist anymore. Stain the mind. Well, Twin won't exist on Moto in a bit, so we're gonna get 4 duresses. Not thought seizes. Not okay. So it looks like we went a little budget with a we need to be mindful of things like Sculler. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this. We'll take a snipping tool. So new snip. Just kind of get an idea of what's going on. Main deck timely, I think, is reasonable actually, with all the burn being played on Moto. So he's not crazy. You know, I never hate on people being brave enough to brew. Look at that sweet Mistbill Plains, for example. This guy's actually doing some really cool stuff. I wish there was more synergy for his flagstones, like something like Pox. There isn't. That kind of disappoints me a little bit. So we'll say okay. And now we can animate falls. So green. So we'll animate falls, and then I'm going to stitch to untap a blue. And we're kind of off to the races here. We'll Cerulean on the steam vents, animated steam vents. So we'll untap, we'll float. I'm going to untap my white source actually. We'll get the Ascendancy trigger, we'll discard. Peak is pretty crappy at this point. Since we already have the information, we'll untap. I guess I just play the peak. And we just kind of, we'll go from here. You know, this also can tap for red should we need to. The technique I'm doing here, if you guys have never seen what we're doing, is we're doing fast tapping. So anytime you have this combo, you want to do as quickly as possible, because the clock is an issue if you're going to play this on Magic Online. So these fast tap, you can also technically fast tap your Stitcher, but you still have to say yes. There's no way to, because it's a may tap or untap clause, Moto will not let you do auto yields for Fate Stitcher, but we can auto tap these. Look how they fast tap for a green and a blue. What your lands, your dual lands will fast tap, or tri-lands even will fast tap for is the leftmost color. Tri-lands are a little more confusing, but they follow a similar principle as far as how they fast tap. We're going to do another Cerulean Wisps. This will net us even more mana because we're kind of aiming to just generate a whole lot of mana. We'll actually float 1 red. You don't need to. There's the Idyllic Tutor. Idyllic Tutor can get me second Ascendancy. I could also... actually, that's all it gets since we already saw the Wind Zendikon. That's the flexibility Idyllic Tutor normally has. But since we drew the one of, we'll spend the green mana. Save the red-blue. Fast tap, fast tap, fast tap. And you guys kind of see what's going on. Now, we may need to start tapping down his blockers, and what's unfortunate is they're all flying. Pitch the Revival. Let's get second Ascendancy. This will get harder now. This is bonus round. Double, quadruple triggers now. Cancel. I need to untap a white source. And see, without the Carrytid, every land here matters. Do you see that? Did you see that just there? If I didn't have the plains, there was no doing what we needed to do this turn. Sleight of Hand's actually, in my opinion, better than the Serum once you're already going off. And just kind of a general. We have a Think Twice, we need a flashback. Of course, there's no... you can time this. I think it's perfectly reasonable to do it now, since we're also getting double trigs. Let's untap our white source. It's pretty obvious. I also need to start considering tapping down my opponent's attackers. Actually, no, we need to, because we have enough points of damage to kill. So, he really hurt himself off his Shocklands, didn't he? I didn't even notice in the Bitter Blossom. Even though he wasn't playing Thoughtseizes, he really was hurting his own life total. So what we're going to do is we're going to double float, and this time I'm actually going to start tapping his permanents down. And we'll make it about that. Probe's okay. It nets mana. I'm going to pitch the Visions. And I'm going to pitch... Glittering Wish you keep, because Glittering Wish just wins here. It wins much, much faster than anything else we can do. So we get to see this really cool tech. So check this out. So we're going to Glitter Wish. You could ignore these triggers, again, just to show you that I'm pretty well practiced and we've been working on this. Do a really quick untap. Because it's not about breaking through his blockers anymore. I actually have a really cool card in our sideboard I'm going to demonstrate to you guys. Comes up all the time, lets you kill second main phase. We also could go infinite here with a Whispered Buyback. I want to show you that too. Real quick. Won't take long. El Snoop, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the Game Special.